this video, we're going to be solving for the slope of a line when we're given 2 points that are on that line. Okay, let's look at our question. The question says, what is the slope of a line that contains the points -3, 6 and -2, 1? Okay, when I want to solve a problem like this, the first thing I want to do is I want to write down my formula. So what am I trying to find? I'm trying to find the slope. Slope can be represented by the letter m. And my formula is delta y over delta x, okay? Delta y is simply the change in y, and delta x is simply the change in x. So another way I can write that out is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Now, I don't need to write all this out every time when I'm solving for slope. I could just write m equals delta y over delta x, okay? Now, I have identified my formula. I've broken it down, so I see what I need. I need to know what y2, what y1, what x2, and what x1, what they're equal to. And then I can just substitute them right in to my formula. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to look at my question, and I'm going to identify these points, these pieces of information. I'm going to label them. Okay, so the first thing I need to remember is when I'm given a coordinate point, a set of coordinate points, this is how it's written. It's written the x value and then the y value. Okay, that's important. Now, it doesn't matter if I say my first point is my point 1 and my second point is point 2. It doesn't matter. I just have to be consistent. Okay, so for ease of use, I will say, I'm going to take the first point, and that's going to be my first point. Okay, what that means is that the x value, which is the first value, is going to be my x1. Okay, so x1 is going to be -3. Now, if this is x1, then this has to be my y1. Okay, the points have to come from the same point. Okay, the x and the y value, I should say, have to come from the same point. All right. So if my x1 is -3, then my y1 is 6. And in a similar fashion, we're going to get our x2 from our second point. So the first value, that -2, that's my x2. And my y2 is going to be that y value from the second point, okay? So my y2 equals 1. Okay, so I've now identified these 4 pieces of information that I was given that I need to sub into my formula to find my slope. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it. So I'm just going to rewrite m for my slope, and that's going to equal, and now I'm going to just plop them right in how I see them up here in my formula. So I need my y2, which is 1, and then I'm going to subtract my y1, which is 6, and that's going to all be over my x2, which is -2, and minus my x1, which is -3. Okay, so that was a little tricky there. Okay, see how in my formula I have to subtract those values? Well, one of the values I need to subtract is already negative. Okay, so I put these brackets here to remind myself that my 3 was a -3, and I need to subtract a -3. Okay, so let's simplify this. Let's start with our numerator. 1 minus 6, well, that's just -5. We're going to take 2 steps to simplify our denominator now, okay? So we have this -2, and then we have subtract or minus a -3. So we need to get rid of these brackets, okay? So what we need to do is we need to take -3, and we need to essentially multiply that by this negative here. Now, remember, when we multiply 2 negatives together, 2 of the same sign, whether they're positive or negatives, our answer is positive, okay? So this negative times -3 gives us an answer of +3, okay? And we can simplify this further. Our numerator will stay the same at -5. And in our denominator, we have -2 plus 3, which is simply 1, okay? Now, we can take this one more step further, okay? Any number over 1. So in a fraction like this is simply just the numerator, okay? What that means is you can take any whole number and turn it into a fraction by putting it over the number 1, okay? So anyways, we have found our slope after all those steps and all that identifying and simplifying and substituting in. We found our slope, and our slope of the 2 points that we were given is equal to -5. If you would like to learn how to quickly study for your GED exam online and get a new resume, then visit testprepskills.com.